Well, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like what's going on with Bud Light has left the entire beer industry in complete and utter shock. Apparently, the beer industry is so shocked that the backlash is continuing on Bud Light for now what's going on the seventh week in a row, that now experts are warning that the supply shortages of rival lagers are going to go down because of what's happening with Bud Light and how people are shifting the way that they spend their money with this brand. So we have an article here from Fox News, and it says the beer industry is in shock that Bud Light backlash continues as experts warn of supply shortages of rival beer companies. Increased interest in Coors Light and Miller Lite could lead to supply shortages, an expert says. Now, I don't necessarily believe that, okay? I don't believe that, and it just seems as if it's an odd way to kind of shift people back towards Bud Light. It's as if like they're trying to say, oh, if you keep buying other brands, you're not going to be able to enjoy those brands, so slow down a little bit and go buy Bud Light until those brands can play catch-up. No, absolutely not. But we're going to get into the article, guys. But of course, before we do, just consider giving this video a like so you can push us out into the YouTube algorithm, and consider subscribing because we're on our way to 20,000 subscribers. So it says the entire beer industry is floored that Bud Light is still taking heat over its now infamous promo with transgender influencer Dylan Mulvaney, and the backlash has put rival beers in high demand, according to the publisher of a prominent trade publication, Beer Business Daily. The whole industry is in shock. Even Bud's competitors aren't really dancing on the grave because they know it could have happened to them. Beer Business Daily editor and publisher Harry Schumacher told Fox News Digital. Now, if anything is to be said about what's going on with Bud Light and Dylan Mulvaney, it's the fact that this is a wake-up call, right? This is a wake-up call for a lot of companies to tread lightly. That's basically what I'm like. That's as simple as I can put it. To tread lightly. These companies need to now tread lightly because they know that at any point people can pop off and say, you know what, we really are done with you. We are absolutely done with you, to the point where you're going to lose 20 to 30% of your sales. That's what happened to Bud Light. Bud Light has lost in the United States 20 to 30% of sales. Now, don't get me wrong, okay? For all the Bud Light shills that are out there, trust me, I understand. Anheuser-Busch is a global company. Don't get me wrong. I understand that the United States is not the primary demographic, and they are well on their way to being perfectly fine even during this boycott. But the brand of Bud Light itself, it's in serious trouble in the United States, and you cannot downplay the loss in sales. They're feeling that, all right? I don't care about boycotting to the point of wanting to close down a company, because the chances of that happening against a mega corporation is slim to none. I am caring about the fact that, okay, how much money can we make them lose? Sure, are they going to go bankrupt? Absolutely not. But how much money can we make them lose? How much can we make these corporations bleed for their stupid decisions to pander and virtue signal instead of just trying to sell a product to the consumer? It says this particular promotion just really stuck a chord. It was just a bridge too far, apparently, for consumers. We're in week 6, and it doesn't look like it's getting any better, he continued. In fact, the numbers just keep getting a little worse every week, down to the 25% area, and their competitors are up almost just as much, and that's continuing through today. And that's what I said in my last video, too. It's no coincidence that the percentage that they are down in Bud Light and the percentage they are up in other manufacturers are damn near almost identical. It's not a coincidence. People have clearly decided to go elsewhere, and they decided to say, screw Bud Light. If this is what you wanted to do, congratulations, you played yourself, and you're going to have to lay in the bed that you made. It says Schumacher, who regularly speaks to beer distributors across North America, believes newfound demand for light lagers that aren't owned by Anheuser-Busch could result in a trickle-down effect on the industry. Molson Coors, the parent company of both Coors Light and Miller Lite, might not even be able to supply enough beers as Americans enter a holiday weekend that unofficially kicks off the start of summer. Yes, Memorial Day weekend is massive for beer companies, and the fact that Bud Light is not going to be able to enjoy the festivities, the likes of which they were used to prior, is hilarious to me. They really decided to give all of this up just to try to go for some Gen Z drinkers, and they ended up not even getting those Gen Z drinkers anyway, because once they disavowed Dylan Mulvaney in an earnings call, they basically, unfortunately, lost the LGBTQ community for them, and now their pandering and virtue signaling went absolutely nowhere. So they gained nothing from this. They didn't gain ESG scores because they were already maxed, and now they got removed from ESG, or their score got docked. So they lost that. They lost the Gen Z drinker. They lost the right-wing, or whatever you want to call right-wing conservative drinker. You lost everybody. You literally lost everybody. How could you mess up that bad that you lose all sides and your ESG rating when you had a perfect rating? You had 100 out of 100. What's wrong with you? It says you can't just flip a switch and make beer. You know, beer is brewed. It takes, at least a couple of weeks to make. So they haven't had major supply issues yet, but we're about to hit Memorial Day, and we could probably see some supply shortages there, Schumacher said. Molson Coors told Fox News Digital that there are no out-of-stock concerns ahead of Memorial Day weekend because inventory was built up over the winter. Schumacher explained that Anheuser-Busch has begun buying back unsold, expired beer from distributors, which brings much relief as those are the people who normally bear the brunt of the cost when a product isn't purchased. While it's a step in the right direction, distributors who rely on Americans purchasing Bud Light will continue to suffer. The sales are just still plummeting down, he said. And listen, I do feel bad for the distributors. They are innocent in this whole scenario. I get it. They only are trying to run a business, and that business just happened to be selling Anheuser-Busch products. But unfortunately for them, the corporation that they decided to sell for decided to get super woke, and by doing so, risk their entire company, risk their paychecks, risk their profits, risk everything, their livelihood. Nobody else is risking this other than the corporation that decided to do this and make this statement, and that corporation is none other than Anheuser-Busch. So unfortunately, these suppliers, these wholesalers, if they're going to go after anybody, if they're going to complain to anybody, they need to go after corporate. They need to go after Anheuser-Busch. They need to blame them for what's happening right now to their lack of sales, because it's nobody else's fault other than Anheuser-Busch. It says, keep in mind, this is the beginning of the beer selling season. We sell beer in the third quarter, and we're about to hit Memorial Day. Schumacher continued, with these trends, it's starting to be material for Anheuser-Busch's bottom line, at least in the United States and in North America. Schumacher feels that Anheuser-Busch's parent company, InBev, has kept a low profile during the weeks-long saga while hoping it blows over, while simultaneously increasing the marketing budget and offering heavy discounts at retail. Their experience tells them that you don't want to add to the conversation and add to the noise, because then it just repeats the news cycle, he said. Boycotts like this usually do blow over fairly quickly within a couple weeks or so. So this is really unusual to go into 2 months because it's not a boycott anymore. That's the thing. It's not a boycott. This is a movement. This is people saying, you know what? We're changing up our buying habits. We're changing up where our money is going permanently. This is not just like, oh, we're temporarily going to make you bleed and then we're going to come back. No, absolutely not. People who drank Bud Light before, who are fed up with this nonsense, they are not coming back. No matter how much you beg them, they're not coming back. Once you lose that customer, you've lost them. They've already decided to go to someone else. They decided to support that brand, whatever that brand may be. That's it. It's over. Like Bud Light, you need to take your loss, accept the fact that you have 20-some-odd% less customers in the United States and North America. Just accept it and move on. That's it. You're not going to come back from this. I highly doubt it. It says Schumacher, who has worked in the beer industry for over 3 decades in multiple positions and has published Beer Business Daily for 20 years, believes backlash will eventually die down and Bud Light will stay on top despite long-lasting scars. I think there's probably a degree of permanent damage to the brand, that's what I'm saying. But in the long term, things usually revert back to the mean, he said. The appetite for news and analysis of the Bud Light debacle is still strong, and Beer Business Daily, a niche publication which focuses on the North American commercial beer industry, has exploded in popularity. We haven't really seen it since 2008 when Miller bought Coors and they merged and InBev bought Anheuser-Busch. So yeah, there's tremendous interest in this and our traffic on our website is blowing up. Schumacher said, it's a story that just won't die. And you know what? That's exactly what needs to happen. You guys cannot let this story die. We need to continue every single day calling it out, talking about Bud Light, talking about what they decided to do, talking about the ramifications of their actions, because not only is it going to make Bud Light realize their horrible decision, but it's also going to affect other companies, and it's going to make them tread lightly. I'm telling you, little by little, unless it's a company that's been born in wokeness from the dawn of time, which unfortunately a lot of them have been, they are going to tread lightly, and that's going to be the biggest benefit of this entire, whatever you want to call it. If you want to call it a boycott, sure. If you want to call it a change of consumer practice, sure. Whatever you want to call it, that's going to be the biggest effect of all this has been going down. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.